So, in today's episode of A Tennessee Congressman Humiliates Himself on the National Stage Once Again, we got Andy Ogles here in Tennessee calling for an investigation into the halftime show. And no, folks, sadly, I'm not making this one up. Oh, Andy Ogles, he always goes to bat for the absolute most ridiculous shit in the world, and this one absolutely tops it all. He wants to see the halftime show investigated. He wants the NFL investigated. He wants NBC investigated, everyone involved, to see if they knew that this smut was going to be played in front of the children, and blah, 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 blah. Who the hell cares? Well, I'll tell you who cares. Andy Ogles cares because he's trying to come up with this piece of political theater to distract us from the Epstein files and to get us to stop talking about it. And they will do anything they can now to go to bat and protect the predators because they are the Epstein class and they're always going to be going to bat for the Epstein class. So do not be distracted by this piece of political theater that's coming out from Andy Ogles because that's all that it is. He does not care about children. He does not care about people who have been abused. He does not care about smut because Kid Rock's music is 95% smut. He doesn't care about any of those things. It's just to distract people from what's going on with this Epstein investigation. And it's pretty crazy to me that the very people who barked the very loudest about the island and about Jeffrey Epstein will now suddenly just fall in line right behind Ogles and say, yeah, let's investigate the halftime show, and they'll put all of their fake outrage over there. You know, I started off like, I got up to around 5,000 friends on Facebook. I think 5,000 is the limit. And I got up to like 4,900 and some. And then I started seeing people on there that I don't even know how they wound up on there. I was like, who the hell is this? Why is this person on my page spewing this bullshit? And I would try to hide them or snooze them or whatever the case may be, and then they'd pop back up. And finally, it just came to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. And I think now I've got around 500 friends maybe on there. I just started deleting people right and left, just cutting them off. But I've still got a few. I've still got a few that I've held on to, and they're people that I do love and care about, and I hope one day could see the error of their ways and come around. And maybe one of the only reasons why I keep them around is to see if maybe one day they'll wake up and see the light. But even they have just went completely silent on this whole thing, and all their outrage now is directed at Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl halftime show, and that's why that I cannot take them seriously as human beings. That's why I can't believe that they actually stand for anything. I can't believe that they believe in anything. I just believe it's all fake. I believe it's all just a front. I believe it's all just an identity that Donald Trump gave them, the MAGA identity. Let me put on this red hat. Let me fly this flag off my truck. Let me be part of something. Let me feel empowered. Let me feel smarter than somebody else because I latch on to this dude. Because I can't believe for a second, I just cannot believe for a second that it's because they actually stood up for something, because if they truly stood up for something, right now, they should be more outraged than ever at everything that's coming out in these Epstein files. That's where their attention should be, not on Bad Bunny. You know, I do believe, and I don't believe it, I know for a fact, we know that there were children and women abused on that island. We all know that there were people knee-deep in this stuff. We all know that our government has lied to us about it every step of the way. We all know that the Epstein class is going to bat to protect these people right now. It should outrage everybody. I believe that. I'll be damned if I'm going to let them distract me with something. You know, I've got 5 kids, and I've got a grandson and another grandchild on the way. So for the rest of my life, there's going to be a lot of kids around my house, okay? And if I thought for one second that one of them was in danger in any way, there's no way that anyone on my street will be able to distract me from what was going on protecting my kid. There's no way. It wouldn't matter if the neighbor was over, across the road, cranking up some Leonard Skinner real loud or something. I don't give a shit. Even if he was blasting Jason Aldean as much as I can't stand him, I'd be like, I've got bigger fish to fry than to worry about this, because I truly do believe that my children are being threatened, so I'm going to go to bat for them. That's what reasonable people would do. And MAGA sat here for all these years talking nothing about. All they talked about was Epstein. All they talked about was the island. All they talked about was the Democrats and the Hollywood elite. And that was every one of their social media posts, just daily. They lived it. They breathed it. It was their identity. Then when it looked like it was their dude, they suddenly changed the subject. And that's why I can't believe that they would ever stand for anything. That's why I can't believe that they believe in anything. That's why that I believe they've just got a fake identity. I don't believe in anything they say, and if they tell me they stand up for something or believe in something, I don't believe it, because this right here should have them outraged more than anything else. I mean, can you imagine if you thought you had went to bat for somebody like that? Can you imagine the level of betrayal you would be feeling? We're reasonable people. We would be feeling extremely betrayed by the Trump administration right now. Reasonable people should be, but they're not, because they never cared about any of those things. And then it brings me around to this thought. Here's a thought that I've pondered a lot here lately. What would really cause these people to go silent about it if they truly cared the most? Could it be that they all went silent about it because they're the same kind of people that was on that island? I mean, if you look at all of the priests and all the Southern Baptist youth ministers and all the religious groups around the world that have been brought down for molestation and for all the abuse that they've done, there's a documentary called Let Us Pray, P-R-E-Y. Go watch that sometime. And then ask yourself, hey, were these people that was barking the most about Epstein's Island, were they barking the loudest about it because they were guilty of it themselves and they just wanted to try to be over here on the side and make it look as though they weren't for it? That's where my mind goes. Because my dad told me a long time ago, and he's been right so many times. He said, if someone has to tell you constantly that they're not a thief, you might want to guard your wallet, because they're probably a thief. And if somebody constantly talks about how much they hate a liar, can't stand a liar, I don't want a liar around me, they're probably filling you full of bullshit. And if somebody is constantly just going off on gay people and constantly ranting and raging against them, they're probably closeted. And if they're constantly going off on trans people, they've probably got a hard on. I mean, that's just how it is, folks. The people that barks the loudest about something and says they're against something the loudest are usually the very people that are doing it. And that's MAGA. It's pretty much been them every step of the way. They barked about how they wanted no more wars. Then they're okay with Trump starting them. They bragged about how they wanted cheaper groceries. They wanted the economy to be better. They wanted to see America put first. I could sit here and go down the whole list of things that he ran on, and they rolled right with it when he broke them. Because all he ever was a cult of personality to him. All he ever was a caricature of their own self that they tried to live up to. And he empowered them. He made them feel smart. So at the end of the day, and I know what you're thinking, Brando, Trump's the biggest dumbass in the world. I know he is. We all know that. But he made a whole lot of people think that they were smarter than everybody else. And that's a feeling they had never got anywhere else. See, back in the day, years ago, if somebody said something that was, factually inaccurate, you could just come right out and say, hey, that's a lie. And you could prove it. You could show them where they was lying, and they pretty much had to eat it. But now they just run to Twitter and create an account, and they follow somebody that validates everything they say. And anything that you say against them, well, that's just fake news. That's not real. That's not real, Brando. It's all a lie. So, I can't count the times that we've caught them in lies and caught Trump in lies, and we show it to them, and then they just go over and point to some other Twitter account and say, fake news, and just keep rolling with it, because they never have to face any accountability. And maybe this whole time they were going so hard in the paint against Epstein and the island, maybe it was because they just wanted to dodge accountability themselves. That's how I look at it. And I'm just being brutally honest, and I know this will piss off a whole lot of people, but I really, truly don't care. If someone truly supported Donald Trump right now and refuses to hear anything about the Epstein files and refuses to believe anything they see in it or even entertain it, after entertaining it all these years, I would not leave any of my kids with them. Who would? Really, who would? So Andy Ogles is coming out with his political theater. He's going to throw this out there to keep people talking about the Super Bowl, keep people talking about Bad Bunny. It's just a distraction. It's just bullshit. And deep down, he probably knows it's bullshit. He's the same guy that went to bat for Trump and, let's let him have a third term, and let's name airports after him, and let's name roads and bridges and bingo halls after Donald Trump. The only thing that should be named after Donald Trump is what should be called the Donald J. Trump Act. And it should absolutely stop a president from ever having immunity, stop a president from doing all of the walking over top of the Constitution that Donald Trump is doing. That's where his name should be. His name should forever be shamed alongside names like Judas Iscariot, Hitler. I know y'all don't like when I make those comparisons. I don't really care. It should be a name like Adolf, or it should be a name like Benedict Arnold, where when you hear it, you just go, ugh. It just gives you a dirty feeling to even hear the name. To tell you the truth, Donald Trump's name always gave me a dirty feeling. But it's never gave me a dirtier feeling than it does these days. And it's just sad, because I held out hope. I held out hope that some of the people in my life would see through it. I held out hope that they would go, I'll be damned. We got played. We got lied to. This is bullshit. We're outraged. Now they're outraged over Bad Bunny. So I do not trust them as far as I could ever throw them. And I never will again. And every time I start to have a shred of hope, I'll just say to myself, Brando, how many times have you been let down?